Thank you so much for joining us for CBN NewsWatch. I'm Ephraim Graham. Ahead today, divisions between the United States and Israel as the Israeli president addresses a joint session of Congress today. Amid concerns, President Joe Biden's policies could strengthen the threats to Israel. Religious persecution in India, where believers face threats from vigilante groups. And in China, where there's Bible burning, torture, and facial recognition to intimidate worshipers in churches. We're going to bring you those details. Could the artificial sweetener aspartame be a threat to your health? We're going to look at that question of whether it causes cancer and its other potential health risks. And we're going to bring you a Studio 5 sneak peek at a new Christian romantic comedy streaming this weekend. It's called Divine Influencer. All those stories and more today on CBN NewsWatch.
This is CBN NewsWatch.
Let's begin this half hour with relations between Israel and the United States as Israeli President Isaac Herzog will address a joint session of Congress today after meeting with President Biden at the White House Tuesday. As Chris Mitchell reports from Jerusalem, the events are taking place in the shadow of a dangerous Middle East and a divided Israel.
In the Oval Office, the two leaders talked about the danger of a nuclear Iran and the recent call between President Biden and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu.
As I affirmed to Prime Minister Netanyahu yesterday, America's commitment to Israel is firm, and it is ironclad. And we're committed as well to ensure that Iran never acquires a nuclear weapon.
I was pleased to hear about your conversation with Prime Minister Netanyahu, in which you focused on our ironclad military and security cooperation, because there are some enemies of ours that sometimes mistaken the fact that we may have some differences as impacting our unbreakable bond.
Herzog told reporters they also discussed the current debate in Israel over judicial reform, legislation President Biden has deeply criticized.
I reiterated my commitment, as I said before. Israeli democracy is strong and resilient, and we should definitely see the current debate in Israel with all its facets as a tribute to the strength of Israeli democracy.
The Israeli president also met with U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken and the White House National Security Team. Beneath the handshakes and ceremony, some Israeli analysts like Carolyn Glick say the visit glosses over deep policy divisions between the Biden administration and the Netanyahu government.
The Biden administration and Biden himself have adopted policies in relation to Iran, in relation to Hezbollah-controlled Lebanon, and in relation to the Palestinian terrorist organizations that run the Palestinian Authority in Judea and Samaria and Gaza that all represent dangers to Israel. They're all strategic threats to Israel.
The controversy over judicial reform continues as demonstrators blocked highways and train stations in Tel Aviv and Jerusalem. The first piece of legislation on judicial reform could become law as soon as next week. And that bill seeks to change the way the Supreme Court can limit or overturn laws passed by the Knesset. Ephraim?
Chris, how serious are the concerns in Israel about the Biden administration's policies being a threat to Israel?
Well, Ephraim, it really depends on what side of the political spectrum you're on. For those on the left, they're actually openly asking the Biden administration to intervene in Israel's internal division over that judicial reform and to stop Netanyahu's reforms. While those advocating on the other side for judicial reform, they're very concerned that the Biden administration is taking sides on this issue and basically interfering in Israel's internal politics. A bigger concern, though, Ephraim, is the Biden administration's policy on Iran. Many believe that's going to lead to Iran becoming a nuclear power, and it seems that's the #1 concern of Benjamin Netanyahu and his government.
The president has extended an invitation to meet with Prime Minister Netanyahu, maybe in the White House. What is the view there about the Biden administration's attitude toward the Netanyahu government?
Well, many people believe, Ephraim, it's hostile. Biden has said this most extreme Israeli coalition in the past 50 years. He's come out openly against judicial reform, and it actually took 7 months to extend an invitation to Netanyahu, and it's not even certain if he's going to be at the White House. So some see it also as an influence of the progressive wing of the Democratic Party, and also the influence of many of the same people who served in the Obama White House who are now serving in the Biden White House. They were seen by many as hostile to Netanyahu and his government then and also now.
Chris, let's talk about the judicial reform legislation. What does it do and where does it stand at this point?
Well, where it stands right now, Ephraim, is the third reading of the legislation, which limits the ability of the Supreme Court to decide what laws can stand based on their standard of, quote, unquote, reasonableness. That's going to be held sometime next week. And the third reading here in the Knesset, would become law. Now, reasonableness is when a Supreme Court justice can choose a piece of legislation and strike it down if it's unreasonable to them. And it's such an arbitrary standard, and that's why many of the advocates of judicial reform say it's really necessary to pass this law.
How serious are these demonstrations in Israel?
Very, very serious. The demonstrations themselves have been going on for about 7 months. They're disruptive to daily life. They're blocking the airport, train stations, and highways. But the most serious concern, Ephraim, is the threat of reservists in the Army, the Air Force, in sensitive security positions, including Air Force pilots, of not serving. For the Israeli society, that's a red line. And it's something Benjamin Netanyahu addressed earlier this week when he said that incitement not to serve or not serving directly really endangers the security of all of Israel. And he said it emboldens Israel's enemies that could lead them to strike out at Israel. And he said it also undermines discipline within the military, which is what the military is based on. And he promised to take action against all those who refuse to serve.
Chris, some say that Israel is facing a perfect storm. Exactly what do they mean by that, and how can we pray?
Well, first of all, what they mean by that, Ephraim, is that Israel's enemies are watching all this internal political divisions, and they sense weakness. For example, up on Israel's northern border, Hezbollah has been gathering for weeks. They have at least 4 incursions into Israeli territory, and they're provoking and threatening Israeli forces and actually carrying out scenarios for attacking the northern Galilee. So that's one thing happening. Some see the Biden administration hostile to the current coalition. They see Iran continuing its march to a nuclear power. So when you have the political chaos at home, the Biden administration hostility, Israel's enemies preparing for war, that's why some people are saying this is a perfect storm for Israel. And that's why some people believe it's important to be praying for the peace of Jerusalem, praying for wisdom for Israeli leaders, and praying that the Lord would thwart many of Israel's enemies, including Iran, Hezbollah, Hamas, internally and externally.
Pray for peace indeed. Thank you so much, Chris, our CBN News Middle East Bureau Chief. Again, thank you. Here at home on Capitol Hill in Washington, we turn now where lawmakers are taking a serious look at rising attacks on religious freedom abroad. There was a hearing this week that had bipartisan support. CBN News Washington correspondent Hillary Powell brings us the story.
House Foreign Affairs Subcommittee leaders say they're more concerned than ever about the stake of religious freedom across the globe. Half of the world's population are not able to practice their faith freely. It's why they're calling out 2 countries where they say America needs to apply more pressure to adhere to human rights.
The world's largest democracy, India, called out for its increasing religious nationalism. Testifying about these conditions, the bipartisan U.S. Commission on International Religious Freedom. Rabbi Abraham Cooper declaring the State Department is not on the same page when it comes to Nigeria and India. In a joint press conference last month, President Joe Biden gave India's prime minister a chance to defend democracy, saying there's no place for religious discrimination. Chairman Representative Chris Smith also singled out China, charging the Communist Party employs Bible burning, torture, and facial recognition to intimidate worshipers. On CBN's Faith Nation, Family Research Council President Tony Perkins says the U.S. should step up.
We have the Treasury Secretary, we have the Secretary of State in China. Were these issues discussed? We don't know that they were. They certainly were not on the record as being discussed, and I doubt that they were discussed.
Committee leaders urged the State Department to designate Nigeria, India, and Vietnam as countries of particular concern. Violations of the International Religious Freedom Act can make them subject to U.S. sanctions.
Experts testifying say there's some hope in progress. USIRF applauds the State Department's decry of 2 key countries for their worsening religious freedom conditions in 2022, Nicaragua and Vietnam. Hillary Powell, CBN News, Washington.
Thank you, Hillary. Welcome aboard. Now, here's a quick look at some other stories we are following in the CBN newsroom. 2 IRS whistleblowers are set to testify before the House Oversight Committee today. They'll be discussing what they've called obstruction of the investigation into Hunter Biden. Gary Shapley has already spoken out, and the previously anonymous whistleblower will be identified today. Fox News Digital reports, according to his prepared testimony, he's a 13-year special agent who is gay and a Democrat and married to a man. Former President Donald Trump is blasting the Justice Department's apparent plan to indict him in its investigation into efforts to overturn the 2020 election. Former President Trump has received a letter from the department notifying him he's a target of the probe. He blasted it on his Truth social media platform, calling it a witch hunt and weaponization of law enforcement. The Attorney General of Michigan has issued felony charges for some state Republicans for acting as fake electors on behalf of President Trump in the 2020 election. They're allegedly going to try to give Michigan's electoral votes to Trump, although he lost the state by a clear margin. Coming up, a story in the news that could affect your health. The controversy over the artificial sweetener aspartame. The question of whether it could be linked to cancer. And even if it isn't, does it pose any other health risks? We're going to take a look at that question when we come back. We're back now with a story in your health news that's getting a lot of attention these days. The controversy over the artificial sweetener aspartame, when the World Health Organization declared the food additive and saying that it could be linked to cancer. The FDA quickly disagreed, criticizing the data. But as CBN medical reporter Lori Johnson shows us, doctors say aspartame does carry other risks.
Aspartame, which hit the market as NutraSweet some 40 years ago, can be found in more than 5,000 low-calorie and diet products. When the WHO connected it to possibly causing cancer in the liver, the FDA disagreed, citing significant shortcomings in the studies and adding FDA scientists do not have safety concerns.
They all kind of need to get on the same page. There's a lot of controversy there.
The WHO says unsafe levels of aspartame consumption begin at 40 milligrams per kilogram per day, which is the amount in about 9 cans of Diet Coke. The Calorie Control Council stated obviously this level of consumption is not realistic and is among those who accuse the WHO of needlessly scaring consumers.
The main thing is that aspartame is a safe substance, can be consumed in quite large amounts, much larger than the humans generally consume.
This isn't the first time aspartame and other artificial sweeteners have come under fire. For years, doctors have been warning about their impact on the gut microbiome.
That's the balance of good and bad bacteria in our intestines that some say has an enormous impact on our overall health.
Those artificial sweeteners cause a separate breed of bacteria to grow inside you.
Studies show people who drink diet soda are at a higher risk for dementia, stroke, and even weight gain than people who don't.
Here are people consuming diet drinks and gaining weight. And that doesn't seem to make any sense. And yet, we now see that it's happening because of changes in the gut bacteria. The risk of developing diabetes is dramatically increased twofold in people who drink a lot of sugarless beverages.
There's also a phenomenon that happens called calorie dysregulation that they saw with artificial sweeteners. When you eat something that's got a sweet taste with no calories, your body can't calibrate the degree of sweetness with how many calories, so it causes you to tend to overeat.
Most artificial sweeteners have no nutritional value, but neither do many natural sweeteners, so doctors recommend avoiding both.
Sweet is a learned taste. If you go off sweet, if you go off sugar, if your brain doesn't get used to it, if your taste buds don't get used to it, you can avoid it, and that's a much healthier state.
Lori Johnson, CBN News.
Still ahead, our Studio 5 sneak peek at a new Christian romantic comedy that is streaming to Pureflix this weekend. It's called Divine Influencer. We've got the story for you with the star of The Chosen, who's got the leading role when we come back. Welcome back to CBN NewsWatch. Sometimes you have to lose everything to discover God has a plan. It's a lesson learned in Divine Influencer, a romantic comedy following a social media star who's forced to find a way on her own after losing everything. Lara Silva from The Chosen series is in the starring role, and she gives us a first look.
Hey guys, it's Liv. Oh, 360,000 followers. Cute. Tag me in that.
Divine Influencer, your character is who?
I play Olivia Golden.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The star.
Yeah. So on trend. Smash that subscribe button. Stay tuned. Who bought all this adorable stuff? It's moi. Wow, she was a fun one to play. I really enjoyed playing Olivia.
Tell me about her. Who is she?
She is very self-centered. She's an influencer though. She is not malicious. She's just so unaware of everyone else around her. She's got this very self-centered way about her. I love influencing people, like where to shop, who to know. Hi, Mom.
We're cutting you off financially.
No. When she loses everything, that's when she realizes she's desperate and starts working at a homeless shelter for all the wrong reasons. But she ends up finding the real true joy of what it means to serve others and be there for each other. I used to have the most amazing life, a beautiful home. My life is in shambles. I need to sell some of these. No, Bruno, freeze!
Olivia, I had the locker next to yours. I work at Harvest Rescue Mission.
I was hoping you might have a job for me.
You'd have to live here and...
I'd have to live here?
I'm asking you to put her to work.
When did you know that this was what you wanted to do, or this was what you were called to do?
With acting. It wasn't until my mid-20s, actually, and I was at a place where I was really depressed and sad, and I didn't know what I wanted to do. I was going to college for sciences. I loved all my sciences. I wanted to be a nurse, but I realized that I knew I wasn't going to be happy and fulfilled there. But when I made the abrupt decision to quit college, I felt like even more of a loser and a quitter. And I was really sad, and I also I wasn't pursuing God. And when I realized that the gifts and talents that I naturally have lie dormant until I sought Him. And that's when I found like my passion for acting, because I asked myself, like, what was I doing when I last felt truly happy? So it was elementary school, putting on performances and dances and shows. And and I didn't find it until I Googled acting classes near me and started going to church at the same time. So doors opened. How can I help?
You know, the shelter is a place for second chances. Could influence people here.
You've got to plan something that people believe they can't afford to miss.
Liv might just rescue our rescue mission.
What's your prayer for the project now that you know it's complete, you've done the work? What's your prayer for it?
My prayer is that people realize that we are so much more connected when we are there to serve others, and when we genuinely see the concerns of what people need, that it's bringing people to Christ, because Christ emanated that. And and I think it really changes lives when we're there for each other. Serving here is helping me find God.
Divine Influencer streams to Pureflix platform starting this Friday, July 21st. For more uplifting entertainment, be sure to join us for an all-new edition of Studio 5 tonight. We've got more from Divine Influencer. Its writer and director is giving us the story behind the story. The star of the hit film War Room is now the star of a new series. She's essentially traded a prayer closet for a judge's bench in a series that is shining a light on the foster care system. And in case you missed it or you haven't seen it yet, Tom Cruise is taking Studio 5 inside the latest Mission Impossible when it comes to all those stunts. You can catch an all-new Studio 5 tonight on the CBN News Channel. It begins at 8:30 Eastern. You can also watch it on the CBN News app or watch it on YouTube. Coming up, honoring the impact of a Christian broadcasting legend who has died at the age of 86. We're going to tell you about him and his life when we come back. Stay with us.
Your news channel, your shows, the stories you care about. Anytime you want, anywhere you want. Download the CBN News app today.
Tributes are pouring in for Christian media pioneer Stuart Epperson, who died at the age of 86. Epperson was co-founder and chairman emeritus of the Salem Media Group, which reaches millions of people through its various platforms. The president of the National Religious Broadcasters, Troy Miller, writes, Stu's contributions to the field of Christian broadcasting cannot be overstated. He touched countless lives with his unwavering commitment to Christian communications excellence and using the airwaves to advance the truth. Epperson is survived by his wife, Nancy, along with his 4 children and 21 grandchildren. He will be missed. Time now for your Wednesday word, and today's word is glory. Know this, you are not here for a life of I, me, and my. You are here for him and his glory. So live like it. You're living this life to live again. And on the journey to heaven, be sure you're bringing a lot of people with you. Be a witness to our great God, and let's grow his kingdom together. With that word, I encourage you to make today a wonderful Wednesday. Well, that will do it for this edition of CBN NewsWatch. You can always find more of our news programs on the CBN News Channel. You can find them there at any time, as well as online, cbnnews.com. We'd love to know what you think about the stories you've seen here today. Email us, newswatch@cbn.com. And join us right back here, same time tomorrow. Goodbye. God bless.